Welcome back to TMS here on ETV. Thank you so much for choosing to stay with us on this Tuesday morning. Now, we are in the month of November, and this is World Adoption Month, and we are joined by African spiritual advisor, Usia Mkhize, to talk to us about the practice of adoption and the implications from probably an African culture perspective. Sia, thank you so much for joining us this morning as we speak of such an important subject. I mean, one of the things that are very fundamental when it comes to us as abantu is ubuntu betu, being able to take care of each other. And in a country like South Africa, where there is so many children who are destitute, who are, homeless, it becomes more or less like a responsibility for us to be able to take care of those people. But how does that then tie in with us as Africans and then Masses Kulumangenda by adoption?
So I think it's important to understand that adoption has always been encouraged in African spirituality and African culture. The adoption, I we've always practiced adoption, and there's also been protocols that have been developed for us to practice adoption. And the reason why we encourage adoption is that we understand that life does happen.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And more importantly, what we are concerned about is every single child having a parent, right? And every single human being, their capacity to parent, right, must be allowed to flourish and be acknowledged.
Yeah.
So for example, I am not calling that as a term of endearment or a term of respect, but rather I'm acknowledging your capacity to spiritually, physically and mentally nourish another human being, right? And because we need to understand that the reason why I love adoption is that children don't necessarily come from you, they go through you.
Sure.
And that if you can raise, anybody can be a parent, right? But to truly nurture someone spiritually, right, physically and mentally, okay, is what parenting is all about. And it goes beyond genetics. Hence, it is so important for adopted children and stepchildren to follow certain protocols and Thanksgiving after they have grown up.
Let's speak then about those protocols, Sia, that need to be followed, because I also know that probably something like blood ties becomes, a very important thing for some people in the African culture. So let's speak about those protocols.
Okay, so there's two kind of scenarios that we have here. One where you know the child's original surname, and one where you absolutely have no idea where the child's original surname is, right? Let's start with the easier one, where you know the child's original surname. So when you know the child's original surname, you need to obviously bring the child into your family ngembuzi, right? Okay? In this instance, what you can do, if you can't find their actual, their distant relatives, you can do something called ukusebenzisa isibongo fanana. So let's say I'm adopting ingane wangubani. I can find umngane wami wakangubani, ngimcele yena as ungubani ukuthi amkhiphe umntwana angenisa. Khona mina ngizomngenisa like Mkhize. Right? Alternatively, okay, if you have absolutely no idea what the child's surname is, you can go to one of our healers and they can pick up what the original surname is. Now, the importance of knowing the original surname is that yes, ungamngenisa umntwana ngembeleko, but sometimes ingane iyakhula and is beginning to struggle with physical, psychological, even social developments because kunesiko lesibongo that needs to be done. For example, abangangubane banqumala, right? So even though ingane yes wamkhize, but leyo ngane iyahlupha because lelo siko is from his bloodline and that needs to be done. The great difficulty that that comes from adopting children is we forget that this person has an original surname and an original lineage, which needs to be taken into consideration ngesikhathi ekhuliswa. So as thina abakamkhize sizomnikeza isibongo sethu, but thina abakamkhize will help him execute the rituals zakangubani.
Right, you can also get involved in the conversation by sending us your voice notes on 072-411-6528. Maybe you do want to ask Usia Mkhize some questions that are related to adoption. So, Sia, also the importance of being able to educate this child about their, origins. How important is that? Because when it comes to adoption, you'll find that they're very secretive about it. And so this child grows up engazi what their origins are.
I think it's the worst thing you can do to your child from an African spiritual perspective is to hide their origins. Listen, you are adopted but uyingane yakamkhize, right? Simfundise umlando wakamkhize, okay? And then on top of that, simfundise ukuthi wena owakangubani. Isintu nesiko kangubane, this is how it goes, right? The reason being, that child is going to grow up, okay? Even though he's not the blood relative of Abakamkhize, Abakamkhize can choose him for the African spiritual gifts. And they can, the biological children that I have can be, not that they're rejected, but they can choose specifically the one that's adopted. Because lengane yakangubane ifika nokunye from Abakangubane. Right? So he needs to understand that, yes, I am an Mkhize, but I'm also got the Ngubane blood in me, and there's going to be elements and requirements that come with Isbongos Kangubane. And he needs to be able to juggle those two as well as a parent. Because now if you're going to hide that from him and his siblings and the other family members as well, then it's going to be difficult for everybody to make this child transition into the family as smooth as possible.